Today we will talk about APIs. API stand for Application Programming Interface. Is a construct that allows code to talk to other code. APIs are the building blocks of modern software because they allow for sharing of resources and services across applications, organizations and devices. Important. First, APIs help developers integrate exciting features and building automation without reinventing the wheel. APIs allow enterprise to open up their product for faster innovations. APIs can be product themselves. APIs are not just for developers. API uses is not limited to the tech and IT industries. Access public APIs, aka open APIs consumed by anyone who discovered the API. Private APIs consumed only within an organization and not made public. Networking and description. Client APIs server a client the requester example browsers web apps mobile apps. APIs simplified interface for interacting with the backend server, the backend where the processing happens. Types of APIs: there are three types of APIs: hardware API, software library APIs and web APIs. Architectures: REST, representation, state transfer. GraphQL, WebSocket, Webhook, SOAP, Simple Object Access Protocol, gRPC, Google Remote Producer Call, MQTT, MQ Telemetry Transport. REST APIs. Some traits of REST APIs include not storing session state between requests, the ability to cache, and the ability to send and receive various data types. Partner APIs consumed between one or more organizations that have a established relationship. An API platform. Postman is an API platform for building and using APIs. Postman simplifies each step of the API lifecycle and streamlines collaboration. So you can create better APIs faster and consume them with ease. Working with APIs then and new and now. CURL versus Postman. Before Postman, it was common practice to poke at API with a command line tool for making HTTP requests called CURL. This tool is still used today but has its limitation when it comes to collaboration and sharing. API calls with CRUL. The API first world. Postman has a vision for an API first world one where 100 million developers are connected through APIs and APIs take center stage as primary building block. APIs are considered a hashtag one priority. APIs are easily consumable. APIs are easily discoverable. Request method. When we make an HTTP call to a server, we simply specify a request method that indicates the type of operation we are about to perform. There are also called HTTP variables, method name and operations. Get. Get is used for retrieve data, means read the data. Post. Send data. Create. Put and patch. Update data. Put usually replace an entire resource where patch usually is for practical updates. Delete. Delete operation. Delete data. Request URL. In addition to a request method, a request must include a request URL that indicates where to make the API call. A request URL has three parts: a protocol such as HTTPS, host, location of the server, and the path, route of the server. In REST APIs, the path often point to a reference entity. Paths and complete URL are also called API endpoint. Response status codes. The Postman Library API version 2 has returned a response status code of 200. Okay, status code are indicators of whether a request failed or succeed. Status code have conventions. For example, any status code starting with a 2xx, a 200 level response represent a successful call. Code range, meaning if it starts from 2 and then xx, it's successful. If it starts from 300xx, it's redirecting, and it's from 4, it's client error, and if it's from 5, then it's server error. Variables in Postman. Postman allows you to save variables as variables to reuse them, and easily hidden sensitive informations like API calls. Current value. Postman always resolve the variable to this value. This is local to your Postman account and not public. It is good to keep secret like API calls only in this column. Here you can see some examples. And then initialize value. The value initialize set when someone fork or impart your collection. Note that if you are share your collection with others, they will see this value, so don't you put any secret here and not include them in the initial value column. And then query parameterize. Remember that the minimum ingredients you need to take a request are request method and a request URL. Some APIs allow you to refine your request further with the key values. Pair is called query parameters. Query parameters syntax. Query parameters are added to the end of the path. They start with a question mark followed by the key value pair in the format. If there are multiple query parameters, it is separated by an ampersand. When to use query parameter, always read the API document path variable. Another way of passing request data to an API is via path variable. A path variable is a dynamic section of a path and is often used for IDs and entity names such as user. Here are some path versus query parameters. You can see when to use path variable, always read the API documents. Okay, now what is data, what is information? Like you can see it in the database section also. Then file system, this is also you can see in the database management system. Database, right?